Okay, welcome to Biology Crash Course Chapter 3 SPM Syllabus, where firstly let's talk about cell, where you need to know that cell is like it can absorb water and nutrient, it excrete waste product, it exchange gases for maintaining the concentration gradient, secrete useful substances and the metabolism of our body. Second thing, let's talk about the structure of our cell membrane. You see, let's pretend that this is our cell. You kind of have a membrane around here, and this particular membrane, plasma membrane, inside this plasma membrane, when we zoom in more, we kind of can see something that is similar to a fluid mosaic model where it's called phospholipid bilayer. And there's two things to remember. From this one particular thing, this one particular phospholipid, there is a polar heat, which is hydrophilic, and non-polar fatty acid tail, which is hydrophobic. Here's how you remember it. Phobic means phobia. When you mean phobia, means that it's afraid of something. So in this case, you say hydrophobic means afraid of water. Phobia towards water. So this is a non-polar fatty acid tail. And then polar heat is hydrophilic, means it is fine with water. So you know what? When you have a lot of these minor phospholipid things together, and then I just like take a bunch of them, I pour them into water, they will all sort of like arrange together up. The tail will match up with tail just like this picture has shown, and then eventually it will form the wall. This because it is just how it is. The non-polar fatty acid tail, we want to avoid water, thus it goes to another fatty acid stuff, which is the tail itself. Now, it can be also strengthened by the cholesterol, which look a little bit like line, and it's like with cholesterol it will be a lot more stronger and flexible, but it definitely decreases water solubility. Okay, let's talk about the permeability, which is the last thing regarding to this subtopic, which is the cell and the phospholipid bilayer. And this case, it will be the types where firstly there's lipids. We have to know the three types of substance that it is passing through. The first one is going to be the lipid soluble, where there is going to be a fatty acid, glycerol, and vitamin ADK, ADEK. Just remember it through ADEK. And afterward you have your molecules and your ions, which there are two kinds as well. This is charged, there's like potassium, K+, sodium, Na+, Ca+, calcium, and then uncharged one, which is the water and the gaseous. And afterward you have your large molecules, which there will be only two in our syllabus: glucose and amino acid. Glucose, amino acid, glucose, amino acid. That's it, simple to remember. Now, for phospholipids, you have to understand that it's basically just going through the phospholipid. It's going to have like two things only. First one is going to be osmosis. We will go more in depth later in the next video. But right now there is another thing called simple diffusion. You see, phospholipid, because there's like quite a big of spaces in between, the water just flow through the phospholipid like that only. Yeah, it just flows through. So basically it allows simple diffusion for lipid and gaseous stuff and water to just flow through the phospholipid. Okay, now afterward you have your pore protein and the carrier protein. The pore protein is basically like one protein and it has one straight. Just check the picture. And basically pore protein is for charged ions and water. And carrier protein, you know what? Since it's carrier, just remember that all these big fat molecules, large molecules, they require some strong energy to get themselves through. And in that case, it will be the carrier protein, where you have a glucose and amino acids passing by the carrier protein. Yep. And after you have an active transport, which is meant for the carrier protein as well, but in this case it's going to be against the concentration gradient. We will talk about that more in the next video. So basically for charged ions it's going to be active transport. In this case I just want you to remember all the substance related to its substance and the things that they are transporting. We'll do one last review. Phospholipid bilayer, it will be the lipid and the gaseous stuff and the water. And pore protein, it will be all the charged ions and the water as well. Carrier protein, it will be the big fat molecules, which is the amino acid and glucose. Yep, well, these are passive transport. Only one carrier protein carries out active transport, which is also for the charged ions.